Hey guys, how's it going? So, Jacko just came out, and, I think people have been looking forward to her a bit. She's definitely a fan favorite character. People wanted a new character to come out since they always rerun the Guilty Gear collab, so it's nice if they add a new character every single time. And, overall, these characters aren't really seeing as much use, so people were hoping for a new character that would be pretty fun to use. In this video, I'm going to talk about Jacko a bunch and show some stuff off, but I also want to talk about how worthwhile it is to pull for these three characters comparatively to Jacko, especially with the triple banner coming out in approximately a month from now. So a lot of people probably want to save for that at the same time. So you don't really want to waste bookmarks going for a character that's not really going to be useful for you, even if that character is a limited unit. So let's start with Jacko. So first of all, this is the Jacko build that I have right now. I went for a speed damage build. I think that you kind of have to use her somewhat kind of like this. I saw some people using Bruiser Jacko. It felt kind of awkward, felt like she wasn't doing enough. Just the way that her entire skill set works, so like with an ability like this where you need to kill somebody, it does a good amount of damage, gives her attack buff. You kill someone, you get the extra turn into the S1 and you get to stealth. If you don't do enough damage, you're not really going to be able to do that, which kind of is a problem. This passive, however, it works on any kind of team, really. You could use it on some sort of team that's the Bruiser, on somebody like Belian, let's say. Or you can use it on a really aggressive team with somebody like Peira. So I think a lot of people look at this and they're kind of thinking like, oh, well, I can use it on all these different characters. Like SSB doesn't really take many turns, so this is going to last on her pretty much the entire fight. But it's really good on characters like Peira and Ran, big openers that remove immunity and can also get the stun at the same time, and the CR push, which is great. It's really strong. That said, I think she's basically just a speed damage dealer overall. So I think at least 250 speed is worthwhile to get on her if you can, at a higher level and as much damage as possible. I don't have an insane amount of crit damage, probably because I have this crit chance neck. I kind of wish I had a crit damage neck, but oh well. Overall, her stats, I think, are decent. As for Artifact, I think Portrait works pretty well. Marsa's Glutton would work if you had a really high leveled one, but I only have a plus 15 one, so I'm not getting a lot out of it. Her own Artifact, I think, is very awkward. I don't really think this Artifact is the type of one you would pull for. It's similar to the Mage Artifact Caladra, except it only works on single attacks, but it gives effectiveness, but overall, it's really not all that strong. I don't think it's super worthwhile going for. Definitely don't pull in her banner just to get this. So, from my experience with Jacko, I think that she's decent. She works pretty well in really high aggro or cleavey kind of teams. I'm not a cleaver anymore. I once was. And I can see the merits of using her with characters like Ran, for instance. Think about Caesarea. The CR push is a really big deal. Getting that extra push really, really matters in a lot of matches. And also being able to stun people is a pretty big deal too. Kind of like Caesarea being able to stun with bombs, right? Disabling them. So she gives that to one of your units immediately. So Ran can strip their team, defense break them, stun them, everything, and push the team, which is a really big deal. And then she herself is a damage dealer with being able to hit pretty hard with this ability. And this ability actually hits insanely hard because when you get the extra attack, the dust attack, when they're debuffed, it actually hits almost as hard as their S3 in total. She even has a soul burn where you can guaranteed stun, which is really, really strong. So on paper, she seems incredibly powerful. In practice, she's similar to a lot of fast damage dealers, like let's say Milim or top model Luica, for instance. Except the fact that she gives the passive to the backline to be able to stun and CR push, I think is a big addition that makes her not as much of a selfish unit. It makes it so she can combo really well with some characters. For instance, I was using Solitaria a lot with her. I was using Solitaria and Peira most of the time I tried to use her because I think that they have a lot of synergy, especially with being in the backline. I think that she just overall has a kind of nice skill set, but she's not really super crazy, is my initial impression. She's not a broken unit. She's not a terrible unit. I think she's a pretty good unit overall. I think that compared to the other Guilty Gear units, she might be the most worthwhile to pull. Excuse me. She really adds a lot to the team with that stun and CR push. But the one problem I found is she's a boomer bust character. She does her big damage turn, And then after that, she's usually not really doing a whole lot. After your team does the stuns, after she does the S3, if they really tanked up or they can revive, I had some issues with actually being able to close out some of those matches because she just instantly dies. She has almost no protective measures because as soon as an AoE comes out, she gets knocked out of stealth and dies in one hit from anything. So she is very, very vulnerable, which is why you kind of have to close the match out very fast. I do think that she works really well in high debuff teams as well. So if you're really trying to control your opponent, I think that she fits in very nicely. She herself can stun and she gives stun to the team. I think that if we were to compare her with the other Guilty Gear units, like let's take a look. First we have Elfelt. I think Elfelt might be the weakest of the bunch. She's not really used at all anymore. She requires pretty good gear to work. On paper it sounds pretty nice. We want decreased defense and attack buff, but when you just look at what we have now, characters like Ran, it really makes you think, like, can you really utilize Elfelt that well? Not really. It's kind of difficult to utilize somebody like this, especially if your opponent's team has a bunch of immunity. I don't really recommend pulling for Elfelt unless you really want the character. Now, if we're looking at, let's say, Dizzy. So I was just messing around with Dizzy a little bit, so I put some random gear on her. But I think Dizzy is a character that's very good in Abyss up until you get to floor, I believe, 100. At a certain point in Abyss, you can't really use her anymore. But until you get to, I would say, maybe floor 100, I think that she's incredibly strong, really makes Abyss easy. She can work well in stuff such as Hell Raid. She's an alright character. She's not really something that's super special right now. I think a character like Solitaria kind of does her job, but better. Dizzy was seeing a little bit of play at the midpoint, I believe, around last season, mid to late point, where she was being used against teams that didn't have any cleansers. I think cleansers might become a little bit more prevalent though, so she might have a little less use, but I think that she's kind of weaker than a character like Solitaria, but Solitaria is an ML5, so, you know, obviously a lot harder to get. She's an okay unit. She's definitely fun to use. She can definitely work in stuff such as Guild War, let's say, but if we're talking RTA, she's not as much of a priority unit. She's okay. Now, Baiken is an interesting character because she's the best Banshee one-shotter in the entire game. Now, my Baiken with pretty subpar rage set gear and not max Mola at S2 or S3 can actually be used to one-shot Banshee. She is the easiest to use Banshee one-shotter in the entire game. She doesn't even have to have a rage set. So if you intend to go for one-shotting Banshee, I do kind of recommend it. Other alternatives, characters like, let's say, Ram or Irvelin, they just don't really do it as easily. You need better gear. It's harder to use. So if you do ever intend on one-shotting Banshee, you might consider picking her up. Now, here's the problem, though. She's not really good at anything else. So it's pretty much just one-shotting Banshee, and then that's it. It's unfortunate because I really like Baiken, but she just doesn't really do a whole lot else. So if you're considering that, then maybe she'd be a character you'd want to pick up. But all in all, I'm not going to talk about Soul Bad Guy. You know, he's a free unit. You may as well grab him. He's good in Abyss. But overall, I think she's probably the best of the Guilty Gear collab units. I think that she brings some fun things to the table. I think if you're a player that doesn't really intend to ever go aggro or cleave, though, then you might not have really much use for her. I think that she's definitely fun to use, though. And I think that she works decently in stuff such as Guild War or Arena. She's not an insane unit for them, but I think that she performs decently there. She's harder to use in RTA because there's a lot more of both players trying to counter other things. So if they go hard anti-debuff, she's going to be a little bit weaker. But I think she, as a whole, is a pretty decent, well-designed character. And I think I would recommend you pull on her. Now, here's the last thing I would definitely say, though, is let's say you only have enough to pull one character. I'd probably say go for Jacko. But if you only have enough to pull for one character, you might want to be a little bit careful. If you're not really interested in her and you're just thinking, oh, maybe I don't want to go for her, maybe you should wait to see if people find some insane use for her and she's actually broken. I don't really think that's going to happen too much. But if you're on the fence, you could consider just saving up for the triple banner that'll be coming in a month, you know. At worst case scenario, you would want 3 pities for it, right? But that's if you get insanely unlucky. So it's better just to assume that you won't. But all in all, I do recommend pulling her. I think she's fun. Not everyone's going to be able to get the same uses out of her though, so just keep that in mind. And the rest of this video is going to be some clips of me using her, but before that, I had a pretty good 10 pull, you know. I did a little ritual, let's say, of trying to do the Jacko pose to pull her. And, you know, my pulls went interesting after that. So, thanks a bunch for watching, everyone.
A few minutes later.
See about these pulls. Let's go. I deserved her in one tap. Huh. Would you look at that? Looks like doing the Jacko pose might have been a little bit worth it, huh? Looks like maybe doing the Jacko pose was worth it. You guys were all laughing at me, you know, saying, you know, maybe you shouldn't do it. And I don't know, look what happened, huh? Huh, maybe I'm doing something right here. Oh, what? Oh, what's that? A new 5-star artifact too? What's that? Oh, that's so weird. Whoa, I got both of them in one 10 pull. Huh. Wow, that's so weird. Looks like doing the Jacko pose right over there was worth it, you know? Huh. What are the odds, right? This does not look super good for me. That's actually on immunity. Weird.
Scar those in our way with destruction and fear.
The children will help.
Okay, what's this gonna do? I think I just resisted like 3 debuffs. I think he just stunned me 3 times and I resisted it all. I might be wrong, but I think that's what just happened.
I won't fall.
Wait a second, I actually got the turn? Hold up. I didn't realize. I didn't think I would. How much is this gonna do? Actually a lot, okay. Wow, sick duel. Okay, total damage? For a really, really tanky Angel of Light, not bad. That's with Vigor, but he does have the Aureus. Okay, that was a pretty decent amount of damage, though. That actually worked out really, really nicely.
Shall we go to the land?
Yeah, he's scared of the, designer a little bit, like, popping off or something. The problem is Jacko is now deado.
I'll deal with this.
Oh well.
You want to try me? Is that all you've got?
She has attack down, so she doesn't hit super hard, but that doesn't really matter for old Jacko here. She's just too squishy. I wish that she could work as a bruiser better.
Those clothes deserve better.
I'm actually doing this so that when I eventually S3 with her, he doesn't just reapply the skill null.
I'll take care of this. Don't put all your faith in me.
He has attack down, but he has so many souls that I think I'm just gonna die, I feel like.
Don't come near me.
Oh, he's actually holding.
Your
Okay,
life ends here.
that's fine.
Enjoy the pain. It'll be the last thing you feel.
I could soul burn this, but I don't think I need to. I think I take an extra turn, so I think it's fine. I can lap around and then possibly soul burn it, you know?
The time has come.
Wait a second. I think this is gonna kill. Wait, and then I get an extra turn and I can stun. Wait a minute. And then, oh my, wait, and it stuns, so I get the dust attack. Oh, that's pretty cool. Hey, that worked out pretty well. Huh. That was actually pretty cool. Working as intended. Okay, so as long as I stun one unit, I get the CR push. And, okay, and I proc the counterattack, which I also wanted. Not bad. Actually, really cool. Okay. Now what do I want to do here? What's the next step? She's obviously a huge problem. I think I just want to put so many debuffs on his team that he can't do anything. Oh, that was kind of nice, actually. Oh my god, that's a lot of debuffs. Oh my. Wait, this is actually like pretty crazy how much I'm getting here. And then I get Emil Sermia to go. Wait a second. Wow, that was a clean win right there. That was a really clean win. Holy. Oh yeah, he banned my ungeared Hwayoung, you're right. Wow. That is nasty right there. I even hit Rylet, but I don't think it really matters because Emma Lilius was about to take a turn anyways. Well, that's pretty debilitating right there. Huh. That probably feels kind of bad to fight against, doesn't it? I didn't put attack down on them, but I think that's okay. You are not allowed to take a turn, sir. I don't even think I have to use S3, really. I think I may as well just S1. I don't really gain anything by using it. This is the most debuffs I've seen like this whole season. I don't think I've seen this many debuffs before, like, in a long time. Oh boy. Okay, that was a pretty good amount of damage. Let's see how much we get here. Okay. I think I made a mistake. But I think we're okay. Yeah, he's gonna do this to kill Jacko. I think the mistake that I made is that I should have Soulburn S1'd on her to stun her with Jacko. I think that was my mistake that I made here. Okay, and he hit. That's very unfortunate. The thing is, I think that he's so far behind that I might just win anyways.
You disgust me. I need some me time.
I think that the rest of my team can actually carry this with the amount of debuff. Yeah, it's over now. Like, now it's just straight up over as soon as that happens. There's no coming back. You know, I'll just stun your whole team. Okay, yeah. Nothing he could do. Jacko giving the buff to Peira is actually really scary.